Many religious people think the question, do you believe in God, is an important one to be answered. But as a skeptic, I think a better question is this: what can we know about God? Now, it is said that God works in mysterious ways. If you were to do a search on this, you will not find it in the Bible. It's not there. But I believe this is the passage that inspires that saying. In Isaiah 55, verses 8 through 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Now, why is this question more important than the one about belief? Well, if you can say you know something about God, then you cannot be deceived when it comes to God. Because what is belief without knowledge of something? If you don't know about something, then how you know you're not being deceived about it? What if your belief is based on something on ignorance? What if your belief is based on something that is essentially a deception? That's why it's important to answer this question first. And then whether you believe or not will come naturally. Now, it's obvious in the past that gods did fill in the gaps in our knowledge. There were gods for seasons, there were gods for tides, there were gods for natural weather and harvests. So the gods did fill our gaps, and we were clearly ignorant back in those times. But why should we assume that we are now knowing better and yet still believe in God? Do we know better? So what does it mean when we say we know something? Usually it means one or two things. One, that we can either come to knowledge by it by reason alone through deduction or something like that, or that we can come to knowledge of something through empiricism, through methods of verification and evidence. So there are many theological positions that do try to reason to God. But the reasons these fail is usually they have to rely on some sort of premise. While the argument can be logically solid and valid, if said premise cannot be proved, then you haven't really gotten to one step closer to God at all. Well, as with evidence, God is normally said to be spiritual, supernatural, immaterial. These are all things that physical evidence cannot handle. So the question comes around again, how do we know about God? What do we know about Him? Now, before anybody just goes and starts dismissing empirical verification, it has gotten us to the moon. It has made medicines that help with the diseases. We smashed the atom. So, I'm not saying that God should be empirically verified, far from it. But we need something that is effective. Something that is effective in proving the supernatural. There has so far been no philosophical work that is able to establish a form of epistemology that can establish this supernatural. They can say that we can know God exists, which is why many apologists probably stick to the logical arguments. You know, they try to say God is necessary, that God is self-existent and He's absolute. Well, there's a lot of other gods that claim the same properties. Let me quote for you from something and see if you can identify their religion. Blank is the Lord of Lords, and in reality it's not easy to write or explain about everything about blank. The God, staying in a state of blissful, enjoying its own self-eternality, without any flaws, is the Supreme Lord. The perfection is completeness, and there is nothing external that is required to make this self blissful. Now, can you guess the god that it's saying? It's Shiva, the Lord of Lords. Sounds like very interesting language now, doesn't it? It sounds like many Christian theology. Even Hindus actually believe in a form of Trinity when it comes to Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. So to say your religion or God actually fulfills these roles, well, so do other gods. So again, how do we know about God? How do we know that it's your God? Is there anything that we can actually do in order to set apart your religion from others? And the problem, I don't think this can be answered, which is the very reason why I'm an atheist.